Alright guys, so today I want to talk about Valentine, the 2001 slasher movie. And this is one that I actually just watched for the first time. I did not see this one because, honestly, it just went under the radar for me, and I heard it was so terrible. And watching it, yeah, I think it's bad. It's entertainingly bad. It's watchable, but it's not like there's a lot better slashers that I could watch that have a very similar premise to this. Like, in my opinion, like Slaughter High would be a way more, like a way better slasher than this, and that one is very similar to this movie, and it starts out very similarly. So the movie overall is not anything like, of course, anything groundbreaking, but I thought it was fun in how dumb it was. Like, this movie is, and I know horror movies by definition are supposed to be just fun, and they really are for me, but in this one I was like, man, these characters are so incredibly stupid, like in a way where I was just like, I understand you gotta use those cliches of like, oh, these characters gotta go walk into a room when they hear a noise. But, like, there's so many other things that I'll mention to this where it got so stupid to me. I didn't hate this movie. I thought it was okay bad. Like, it's entertainingly bad, so it wasn't, like, a hard watch, but for some parts of the movie, I was like, okay, just go on with it. Like, show me, like, some killing, show me some slashings, because a lot of the dialogue is so bad and so dumb that this is one of those horror movies where it's dumb, but it's not in a way where I thought it was really fun for the most part. There were some parts that were fun and some parts that I was like, oh my god, this is hard to watch, but like usual, I'm going to go through like the basic plot while I'm talking about stuff I like and dislike about it. I thought the opening was alright, where it opens up with this kid, Jeremy, trying to ask out the 5 girls who will be the leads of the movie. In 6th grade, I think it was. And it shows flashback scenes of this while it shows pictures of yearbooks of like them when they graduated. And Jeremy is denied by every girl except for one girl, Dorothy, who at that time is she says or later in the movie that she was a fat girl. So, Jeremy goes up and they start kissing, and then all the guys start making fun of her because nobody likes Jeremy. So then Dorothy says that, like, he hurt her, and then that makes all the guys beat him up and make fun of him and treat him bad. So Jeremy gets the shit into the deal, all because Dorothy said a lie. And I did like this opening. I thought it was kind of interesting. But then, of course, it does this, what a horror movie like this does, and does 13 years later. And we've got the Scream scene, the opening scene of Scream again, like most of these late 90s to early 2000s slashers did, where they had a main character on their own, they die off, and then it doesn't, like, it's about the other characters. And Katherine Heigl is the one in this one where her character starts out on a date with this creepy guy named Jason. And this guy is really fucking creepy, where he's like, he'll literally say his name when he refers to something. He says, like, Jason likes your dress, or Jason wants to eat that too. Like, lines like that, like where he'll say Jason blah blah blah, and it's creepy. Yeah, it's really weird. It kind of cracked me up in a way, because I'm like, why did she not realize that this guy said stuff like this before he went on a date with him, or was it like a blind date? But Katherine Heigl's character looks at him like, oh, okay. Like, she just has like a repulsed look on her face. But then she's, like, her job is to, like, perform, like, the autopsies, and she's down there, and she hears a noise after she, like, finishes that date. And stupidly goes up to hear that, like, she hears that noise and stupidly goes out. She's like, is anyone there? She walks down this dark hallway. And, like I said, this happens in a lot of horror movies, and it usually doesn't bother me, but I felt like in this movie, all of these characters had the dumb decisions. It's like some horror movies, they have one character or maybe two that will go off and do something stupid, but not every single character, not every girl in this movie. Every girl did something really incredibly stupid, and I was really annoyed by it. It didn't, like, you could have made it a little more smarter, and that's why this movie, whether critics love or hate horror movies, that's why this one I feel like got a lot of horrible negative reception because of stuff like that, where the writing is just so bad. And like I said, horror is not known for great writing, but like this one in particular, I was just like, man, these characters are so annoyingly dumb with the decisions that they make. But yeah, Katherine Heigl's like, oh, I'm gonna go, like, she's gonna go look for that noise, and goes down a dark hallway down underground where like she's doing the autopsies, and then like she finds this other guy there, like, that works there, and then she finds a card that, like, a Valentine's Day card. And it's funny because this was a cool way to connect like 80s horror did with like a holiday. In this one, the killer uses like Valentine's Day cards, or uses like Cupid's arrows, like, to, like, in some scenes. But with every girl, he sends them a card, like a Valentine's Day card. And in Katherine Heigl's case, it's like one of those pictures where he can move the image, and like she moves the image of the person's throat and then takes down, and then there's a slit throat. And then Katherine Heigl's like, oh, this is, like, freaked out. And then she goes back to the room for the autopsy, and then somebody switched bodies with that body that was covered up with with a sheet, just sitting there on the table that she was going to work on. And then the body starts breathing, so she jumps back, and then the body's gone, and then she finds that other guy that was down there dead. And then she finds the killer, who's wearing this mask that I actually do like. It is a Valentine's Day Cupid mask. I thought that this movie, like, it felt like it was from the 80s in terms of like its authenticity, to use all these things to make it similar to like connecting to the holiday, like all the other 80s horror movies did. I thought that this was clever with that. But yeah, I like the mask. I thought that was a cool mask for the killer. And it's weird because they do it to where the killer, it's like, I know they're doing the mystery of like, oh, which boy is it, like, that the girl's dating that's Jeremy, but like, you already know it's Jeremy. So like, this is one of those horror movies, slashers, where it's like, it's not a whodunit, so it's not as interesting to me. I mean, it's kind of a whodunit in a way, because it's like, who's the older version of Jeremy, but mostly it's just, you already know it's Jeremy. It's just one of those guys. But I just thought that was, like, it's an interesting plot, but it just wasn't as interesting as like the real 80s horror movies, the real 80s slashers that really did use authenticity, like, for the holiday, like My Bloody Valentine, where like that connected to all these other Valentine's Day type of things. Like, this did feel like that in terms of using items connected to Valentine's Day for like the killing and stuff. But then Katherine Heigl runs away from the killer. She goes and hides in a body bag, and like, the killer like opens 2 body bags, not her in either one. And after that, he just starts stabbing every body bag, like, just quickly. And then the last one left, he opens it up. There she is. He slits her throat and then just leaves her in there, and that's it with Katherine Heigl for the movie. She's gone completely. But I thought that was, like, it just, I don't know, it just was okay that, like, it was similar to Scream. It's like this character is on their own. And they die, and then it references her after that, but it's not important to the actual plot. Like how, even though I do like Scream a lot, it's like that with Drew Barrymore, like Casey Becker. It's like she dies, they have like, everybody's sad about it, and then after that, that's it. Nothing else is talked about with her, so I don't know. It felt the same way as that, but more lazy. But then we get like all of this dialogue where it shows the main characters, Marley Sheldon and Denise Richards, and they're friends, of course, and it's got that type of Lifetime kind of dialogue, like, it's really bad dialogue. And like I said, horror is never known for horror's not always known for great dialogue, but like it felt like it was very by the numbers with this plot, with just these characters. Whenever it introduces Marley Shelton and Denise Richards, they go on speed dating with these guys, and it's just like I don't know, I didn't care. I didn't think that was that interesting. And then they hear that Katherine Heigl died, and they go to the funeral, and that's it for her. Just no more about her. And then this is when David Boreanaz enters the picture as Adam. And Kate, Marley Shelton's character, they kind of have a relationship back and forth thing, like, and it's just, I don't know, like, there's a lot of horror movies where this has been done before, this plot, but like this one, I just felt like it was so retired, and it didn't have anything really new to it at all, besides the fact that he used weapons and things that connected to Valentine's Day. But besides that, the movie is very just bare bones horror that does nothing. And the characters are so stupid, but yeah, it has like then it starts with Dorothy getting a card too, and it's like really repetitive in the plot. Like the plot to me is very boring, and again, horror is not always something for like plot either. It's like you're just here to see the violence, but the violence isn't that great either. It's just really there's not much to it. A lot of pretty dumb scenes about these characters just talking about stuff that's really cliched and been done before. But then, like, we get to really dumb things. Like, Marley Shelton takes a shower. She hears a noise. She goes out. Nobody's there. Then her water gets turned off. And then I'm glad that the killer realized that she was that stupid that she was going to go out and hear the noise. But then the water's gone out of the shower everywhere. The water's off. So she didn't go out to get killed. The killer just shut off the water and left her there. But then for some reason, and this is where I'm getting with really dumb characters and dumb decisions, I understand that Marley Shelton's character, Kate, she's halfway through her shower. She's got shampoo in her hair. She's got no water. Like, her water's off. And you know what she goes to? She goes to the toilet bowl, not the actual back of the toilet. She goes to the toilet bowl, puts her hair in it to clean out the shampoo. Oh my god, like you didn't just think about the back of the sink, or back of the toilet? Like the one that's clean, the clean part of the toilet? It's stuff like that where I'm like, really just so dumb. Like it's more dumb in a way that's more insulting, I think, to me. And then she finds the killer's mask in the elevator, which is one of her first times she encounters the killer, kind of, because she's kind of like, the killer targets them all in ways where they're not just, nobody else sees the killer. But then it cuts to other things, like Denise Richards and her other friend getting a card, and then the girl eats chocolate and it's got maggots in it. So like the killer's fucking with them, but like it's just nothing that's not been done before, and it's not entertaining. And the dialogue is so awful, and I hate sounding really negative in this review. Like, I didn't hate this movie. I just didn't really like it. I thought it was, for the most part, besides a couple little things, it was just a really bare bones, like just bare bones horror you've seen a million times, with no interesting characters, with bad, dumb writing and dumb characters. But then we get to this weird scene where it's like at this museum, art museum, with like all these lips talking on monitors, and then the one girl gets separated and she gets killed with like the killer who has Cupid's bow and arrows, which I thought was, like I said, it's cool using the bow and arrows, and it's cool for him using the cards like to connect the holiday with this horror situation going on. I think that's cool, but and he shoots her like 3 times, and she falls down like 10 stories into a garbage can, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, it also is funny because then they get this like detective involved in this case, and like they mention the name Jeremy Milton, and then he's like, "Oh, you mean the person I'm looking for, JM?" Because it says JM on each of the cards they get. And then the characters are so stupid, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't even think about that." And I'm like, you're not thinking of a character that you, even though it was in 6th grade, you knew that you fucked up this kid and like got him beat up and like made fun of him, and then this thing you don't even tell a private or an actual detective that like he they're right the initials are that could be Jeremy Milton are on the freaking cards that you get, and he literally looked at them like they were stupid, because they are stupid. Just it's stupid for the sake of being stupid, and I hate that. I hate when characters are this dumb. Sometimes it works in horror, sometimes in this case this just really didn't work for me. And then then it cuts to like Dorothy, where she kind of tells the truth to Kate about like, oh, I did tell the boys that like he hurt me, Jeremy hurt me, so like the boys beat him up. So it is her fault, you know, in every single way. Like, she's the reason why he got beat up. I don't know if he would have killed them since they just denied him a dance, but then after that, where she lied to the guys and the guys beat him up on the floor in his underwear in the front of like the dance, like that would piss somebody off too. But then they talk to the investigator again, or the detective again, and I thought it was hilarious. Again, it gets more stupid with these characters. I think it's Kate, the character Kate, but the detective's doing like a picture by picture of like he might look like this nowadays, because they haven't seen a picture of him in 10 years. And then her response was, do you have any more recent pictures of him? And then the guy just said, no, don't you think I would have been showing you those pictures if we had any recent pictures? And I'm like, what are you trying to do? Like, they are extremely stupid. Like, it just doesn't... The writing is so terrible in this. But then the whole movie starts to where it's like one of the boyfriends could be the killer. Like as the detective mentions that, he's like, oh, is it this guy, you know? Is it this guy, you know? And the girls do kind of squabble on, oh, it could be your boyfriend. No, it could be your boyfriend, because you don't know him. You've only known him for a month. Or like one that's like, you don't know his last name. Like, that's just all right that like it kind of gives like a false herring to which guy it is, but like it's just nothing new. And then it's weird because the detective guy, for no reason, like out of nowhere, with Denise Richards' character, he just starts like, he puts his hand on her leg, on her thigh, and starts acting like there's chemistry between them, and she didn't even imply anything to that. I don't think she did, at least. But then she's like, detective, get your hand off my thigh. And then like, it's such a weird thing that I feel like is just pointless. What does that add to the movie? Just that he's a pervert? That's it. And then like the killer starts offing the guy characters now. Like one of the girl's boyfriends dies, like he hits her with an iron, and that's it. And then like I said, it just keeps throwing suspicion, but it's like nothing different than like another horror movie, and there's a lot better ones than this for me. And then Dorothy's boyfriend gets killed, and then Denise Richards has this random weird sex scene where like, well, it's not even a sex scene because it just teases it, because Denise Richards goes in with this guy who, like, you heard that he's kind of a dick to women, and like she ties him up, and before that he shows her his dick, and she just laughs and says, oh, that's what you came up here for? And then she ties him up, and then she pours hot wax on him, and then she leaves. And that's it. It's just, okay, cool, I guess. Like, alright, what? I don't know. Again, just not anything that adds up to anything. And then that one girl that gets introduced halfway through, that's not part of the main 5 people, like, she comes in and he's bitchy a lot, and then she gets killed. Again, just she's brought there just to up the body count, but there's not much gore, and it just doesn't... These characters are already so dumb, it's like, it doesn't add anything to it for me. It's not like a fun slasher where it's like, these characters are likable and interesting. These characters are dumb and just not very interesting at all, because they're so cliched. In a way that it just doesn't, the actors don't give anything, and I feel bad, because I do like these actresses a lot, but they don't give anything with this bad script. And and then Denise Richards dies, where like she gets slammed between a pool lid, like he closes it, the killer closes it on her, and then he drills a hole in it to where he drills into her shoulder, and then he throws in the drill and shocks her like to death, and like that's it for her, she's gone. And then Kate walks outside because the detective is coming to go check on them because he had to let go of the guy from earlier, and then she finds his head in the water, like in a little pond right by the house, and freaks out. And then the ending felt exactly like Scream. The location, like it's this big lush house where even the color style looks like Scream. Like it looks a lot like it, where it's just all the locations in that house look very similar to Scream. And then Dorothy and Kate. Dorothy has this like argument with Kate where she's like, "I was the fat one. I wasn't the one that like nobody liked me whenever I was that age. Like I was the fat one." And like they have that dramatic dumb squabble, and she leaves, and then Kate finds Adam, David Borealis's character, and it's trying to like imply that Dorothy did it, like she killed everybody because they had that argument, so it should imply that. And then Kate goes upstairs, gets a pistol, because David Borealis or Adam is coming at her, and she's nervous. But then she finds Dorothy wearing the mask, and she falls down the stairs and dies. And then they're like, "Oh, we're good. Like her and Adam are good. They're just gonna sit there." They finally solve the mystery. But it's so stupid because they made it to where I think Jeremy bled out of his nose at the beginning whenever he was in sixth grade. And the killer, every time he kills somebody, his nose bleeds in this movie. So it would have been a guy. It would have been Jeremy. It wouldn't have been Dorothy doing the killing. Maybe if they were in it together, but they weren't. And then it ends with Kate and Adam just hugging, and Kate's falling asleep, and Adam's just sitting there making a weird face, and then his nose starts bleeding, and then I'm like, obviously that was him. Like, why did you make it seem like it was Dorothy? That's so dumb. Like, that kind of twist, like, that's not even really a twist because it made the audience just feel dumb. It's like, yeah, it should have been the guy because the guy who you saw did that. Like, that, I think he bled out of his nose at the beginning. Wasn't that right? If I'm wrong about that, then I'm sorry, but I think that was right. But yeah, it was just, like I said again, I don't hate this movie. It's just not. It's really, really just bare bones trying to be a slasher, but like it doesn't have any fun charisma or fun characters. All these characters are dumb and really, really badly written. And the actresses who I like can't give anything that works for this movie. Like they don't have a good script, and the kills are pretty bland. Like I said, I do like the idea of using like the Valentine's Day cards, using the Cupid arrows, using the mask. Like that's cool little ideas, but they don't make a movie that's entertaining for me. Or not super entertaining. It was mildly entertaining in how bad it was, but overall, it just, like I said, it wasn't, like, I'm not angry at it, but I just thought, it's just really, really stupid. That's its biggest downfall. It's just completely stupid, where it has no real charisma to it, no real identity, besides a couple tiny little things. It's just one of those really, really run-of-the-mill slashers, very similar to Scream, whenever Scream just came out a couple years before this. So, I guess 5 years before this, but yeah, overall, this one just kind of disappointed me. It wasn't the worst ever, it definitely isn't, but it was just mildly entertaining, but overall really stupid and really bland.